Could Twitter know exactly what the Red Sox need? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and Twitter has to be the most opinionated place on the internet, maybe outside of Reddit. Specifically, Red Sox Twitter, everyone and their mother has an opinion about how the Red Sox should be run and what the Red Sox are going to do next. And a lot of people, including myself once in a while, truly believe that on Twitter, we think we are right. So we're going to do in today's videos, we're going to put that to the test. I asked Twitter users what the Red Sox were going to do in 2024, and today we are going to see if they can accurately predict the 2024 off season. But before we get into that, first of all, if you aren't following on Twitter and you want to be a part of things like this in the future, my Twitter handle is on the screen now. Make sure you guys follow me there. Also, make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Plus, helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. So basically what I did, because I couldn't take everyone's individual written response and combine it, I put out a bunch of polls. I asked Twitter users a whole bunch of different questions, and we're going to take the answers to those polls and see if they can predict the off season. The first question here that I asked Red Sox Twitter users was obviously the most important one right now going into the off season. That's who's going to be the next GM, CBO, PBO, whatever you want to call it, of the Boston Red Sox. And the response was pretty clear. Overwhelmingly, Twitter users believe that Eddie Romero will be the next GM, CBO, I'm not going to do that again, of the Boston Red Sox with 66.7% of the vote, which I think is pretty logical, right? With the way things have been trending, with everything going on with the search, it feels like Eddie Romero is the natural next step for the Boston Red Sox. Whether or not that actually happens or not, I'm not entirely sure, but I do have to agree with Twitter here. I do think the next whatever we're going to put in charge of baseball is going to be Eddie Romero or some combination with Eddie Romero. I think he's too far along and too much of a talked about candidate right now as an internal hire to be just told, hey, look, listen, we appreciate you coming out, but we're going to keep you right where you are, right? So now let's take a look at some of the moves the Red Sox Twitter believes the Red Sox are going to make this offseason. The first question I asked was a pretty simple one. It was whether or not they think that the Red Sox will spend big time in free agency, right? It's been a little bit since the Red Sox have made a true big market splash, right? They've made a lot of bigger moves, $100 million plus the Yoshida story, a big money towards Kenley, obviously that extension of Rafi, but it's been a while since they made that big splash on the open market, and I wanted to see if Twitter could tell me if they were going to do it again. Overwhelmingly, the answer to this question was again, yes, 74.6% of the total votes, which makes sense. Now, I don't know if this is wishful thinking from Twitter users, if this is something they're trying to will into existence, or if this is something that the Red Sox have been over the past couple of weeks hinting at and making moves towards that the Red Sox Twitter is picking up on. Either way, I'm all in on the Red Sox spending a lot of money this off season. Then of course you have to ask, if they're going to spend big money, who are they going to spend that big money on? And once again, the answer was extremely clear. Honestly, it's pretty impressive how on the same side most Red Sox Twitter is. It's very funny because usually there's a ton of debates, but in most of these polls there's a clear winner, and in this one there's a clear winner as well. Yamamoto takes the cake with 77% of the votes, and this is like duh, right? This is a very obvious answer. Yamamoto clearly needs to be the Red Sox #1 target. This is a guy who could come in and transform a rotation immediately. And yeah, if we're going to spend big money, this is the guy, in my opinion, you're spending it on. Now, what's interesting about this poll is that Aaron Nola has so many more votes than Blake Snell, who both have a similar sort of career trajectory here. Blake Snell's in line for the NL Cy Young Award, possibly even winning the NL Cy Young Award, but so many more people took Aaron Nola. I wonder if that has anything to do with recency bias, with what he's been able to do in the playoffs, but I would love Yamamoto and I would also love Aaron Nola. So combine the two of those, we're going to say the top two in this poll are who the Red Sox are focusing on, Yamamoto and Aaron Nola. And of course, if we're talking about free agency, we have to talk about the big fish, the unicorn, one of the greatest players to hopefully ever play the game, Shohei Ohtani. Is he going to end up in Boston? And this was our closest poll, I think, of the entire question here, or survey put out to Twitter, and the answer was no by 47.3% of the vote. But in my opinion, while I think that is the correct answer, I do not think he ends up in Boston as a Boston Red Sox. I do think the third answer, interested but no, is the answer that's going to actually end up happening. I think the Red Sox are in a little bit on Shohei. I think they start to make a push towards Shohei, but I don't think they want to go over that limit that would cost Shohei to come here, and I think they end up backing out towards the last minute. I also think it's going to be a little bit of a tough sell to get Shohei in a Boston Red Sox uniform, and that's going to make it really difficult for them to try and get him on this team. So overall, I just think there are too many factors playing outside the Red Sox hands than there are playing towards the Red Sox hands. While I agree with no for Shohei Ohtani, I do think they'll at least make it interesting in free agency. Okay, so now that we've got the free agent situation figured out, let's move on and see what the Red Sox are going to do in the trade market this offseason, because in my opinion, this is going to be a big offseason trade-wise for the Boston Red Sox, if nothing else out of necessity, right? They have too many talented people and not enough roster space for them. I think we're going to see some trades out of pure necessity this offseason, but I was curious, if the Red Sox are going to focus a bit on the trade market, which one of their young talented players are they going to be trading this offseason? So I listed the top 4 names that have been thrown out over the last couple of weeks, and overwhelmingly, this once again was won by a landslide in Alex Verdugo, who acquired 68.5% of the vote. I think this one's pretty obvious, right? I think that Alex Verdugo will get traded this offseason. He doesn't really have a true spot on the Boston Red Sox, although I do love his kind of leadership and stuff. I just think with everything that went on off the field this season and everything that sort of happened in the second half of 2023, there might not be a legitimate starting spot for Doogie, and you don't want to waste that opportunity to trade him for someone else. So yeah, Doogie, in my opinion, does make a ton of sense, but I'm surprised at how much of a landslide it was. I think Doogie is the clear winner, yes, but Tanner Houck is a lot of value right now and not a secure spot in the rotation. Jarren Duran and Ceddanne Rafael are both fighting for center field. It would make that decision a whole lot easier if one of them was flipped for something very valuable, because both of them are worth a lot right now. I could see any of these guys being traded this offseason, so I'm surprised it was so quickly decided here for Alex Verdugo, but hey, I'm not Twitter, and Twitter knows best. And of course, if you are trading one of these pieces, which it appears as though we are going to be trading one of these pieces according to Twitter, then the question becomes, who are they going to be trading for? Right now, Twitter only allows for 4 options in one poll, and unless I wanted to make 60, 70 different polls trying to figure out who Red Sox fans wanted to trade for, we're just going to go by position here. So we laid it out with starting pitcher, outfield, and second base, and once again, this was decided in an absolute landslide, with starting pitcher receiving 84% of the vote. And again, I think this is a pretty obvious answer, and that's why it was won in a landslide, right? I think the Red Sox have a ton of positional talent right now, and they're trying to bolster their pitching staff, specifically their starting pitching, which has been a problem over the last couple of years. It's why you saw the pitching coach get fired. It's why you're seeing changes in the front office right there, trying to figure out how to be a sustainable winner, and that starts first and foremost with the pitching. So it makes sense that everyone's focus is on starting pitching, but that doesn't mean other parts of the team aren't worth upgrading. And I think one of the spots to keep an eye on as we go through the 2024 offseason trade-wise is second base. I don't know how happy the Red Sox are at second base right now, and I think that could be a spot they look to upgrade going into the 2024 season. Okay, so I guess what we're looking for in terms of trades this offseason is Alex Verdugo for a starting pitcher at some point, hopefully involved in a big trade, but that's just what Twitter told us was going to happen. But what about something the Red Sox have been wanting to get back on focusing on that they haven't really done in a pretty decent amount of time, and that is who's going to be the next young player that gets locked up by the Boston Red Sox before they enter free agency. And this one, once again, was a landslide, and this one I think is actually for good reason. Triston Casas overwhelmingly won this one with 71.2% of the vote. And yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly, right? I love Brayan Bello. I love Jarren Duran. I think those guys could be absolute units for the Boston Red Sox in the future. But if we're talking about signing the guy early who has the highest ceiling of anyone on this team that's not named Rafael Devers, Triston Casas is that guy. What we saw this year from Triston Casas was nothing short of incredible, and he's so young. His ceiling ceiling isn't even close to being reached yet. Triston Casas is projecting as a middle of the order, left-handed power bat first baseman. This is a guy who I would 100% lock up as soon as possible. So I 100% agree that the next extension with the Boston Red Sox is Triston Casas, and now it's just confirmed by Twitter users. And finally, I asked two questions that sort of overlook the entire offseason as a whole. The first one is just a pretty blanket statement. What are the Red Sox going to focus on during the 2024 offseason? And it was pretty overwhelmingly that they were going to spend money in free agency. At about 74.5% of the people that voted in the poll voted for free agency as the main target. While I don't think that's wrong, I don't think it's the wrong answer, I'm surprised that trades is not as looked upon as something that is going to be a focus for the Red Sox going into 2024. Because like I said, it feels like a necessity that the Red Sox are going to have to trade someone coming into the 2024 season. So I would keep an eye on that as well. But I do think the Red Sox main focus will end up being free agency. I'm just surprised at how big the gap was. And finally, the last question that I asked, the question everyone wants to know, and the question it appears only Twitter can answer: are the Red Sox going to be better in 2024? Not competitive, not World Series contenders, not all-star superstar team, just better. And the answer by a measure of 87.5% was yes. And I'm surprised, right? Twitter tends to be a bit pessimistic as a whole when we're talking about the future of the Red Sox, and it appears as though there's a lot of hope for this team going into the 2024 offseason. I love that, right? I absolutely love that Red Sox fans want this team to get better, think this team will get better, and think that this Red Sox organization is on a better path than they are now. And I'm all in, right? I would love for the Red Sox to just be better in 2024. So all in all, according to Twitter users who are trying to predict the 2024 offseason, Eddie Romero will be promoted pretty quickly here over the next couple of days. They will spend a lot of money on the open market, and this will be their main focus, and it'll all be on starting pitching, looking like Yamamoto and Aaron Nola. They will trade somebody, though, and that trade will be Alex Verdugo, and it'll be for a starting pitcher. So you're looking at a lot of starting pitching help coming in over the offseason, not a really lot of anything else. And on top of that, too, you will be extending Triston Casas. Boy, oh boy, would that be an offseason, right? Holy, I would absolutely love it if the Boston Red Sox end up doing exactly what Twitter ends up doing, and I'm all in on this plan. I am all for the Boston Red Sox doing exactly what Twitter predicts that they are going to do. Maybe the next CBO, HBO, MPO, whatever you want to call it, of the Boston Red Sox should just be a collective hive mind of Twitter. Maybe, maybe not. But that's just my opinion. So let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think of all this? What do you think of Twitter trying to predict the offseason? Do you agree with Twitter? Do you disagree with Twitter? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.